Hey, what's up everyone? We have some news about Predator Badlands. So the movie was only about alien creatures and a robot, we know that. The synthetic known as Thea was the only connection to the alien universe, because she was made by Yautja. We did have a cameo appearance for Naru, which appears as a hologram when Dek is choosing his prey to hunt. There was actually a few things that were cut from the film. Screenrant had an interview with Dan and they got more details about this. It says the original draft did include Arnold's Dutch, and the alien Xenomorph, as well as the backbiter creature from Killer of Killers. It says here, the scene got truncated to the point that audiences could barely see any of the characters, as the dialogue-heavy scene was trimmed down. However, they still tried to keep as much as they could, as Trachtenberg and his creative team wanted to nod to our favorite characters that the Predators have fought against over the years. They had a longer conversation, or they said the same idea of pick your planet and all that stuff, but it was a little bit longer. So there were more holograms to be in the background, and what we have now is more soft focus in the foreground. You kind of see it and all that. Dan says it was possible to see Dek and Naru team up, but this is something that's already been done before. Like in the AVP movie in 2004, when Scar teams up with Alexa, and also in the story of Broken Tusk and Machiko. Trachtenberg also indicated that Naru not having a more direct role is saving his ideas for her in a different movie entirely, expressing that I didn't want to ruin her Predator franchise return. The thing we haven't gotten in all the great sci-fi we've enjoyed over the years is it's the creature, it's their movie, that's it, no humans. And then I had other cool thoughts for what Naru could do in the future and was like, oh, that would be awesome for that, but I could feel it. There's definitely a version where you find Naru on that planet and she has to survive and they meet. I could see that version and didn't want to spend all the chips right away. Aside from Naru appearing in Badlands, she also shows up in the new ending of Killer of Killers, where her body is frozen. They also did that with Dutch and Harrigan, which could lead to them appearing in some animated movie. Maybe Arnold could do voice work for Dutch. They also captured Dutch's brother, John. The idea of capturing people that defeated other Predators was brought up in the comic books with Thea Berwick. We know Dan still wants to do another movie with Naru. He does have plans for that character, but he wants to do something new or something different. Another article on Screenrant talks about Dek's mother. Although she did not appear in the film, she was just mentioned by Dek. She pretty much showed up inside a ship at the end and Dek said, "Oh, that's my mother." So we have no idea what she looks like. It says here that what Dan is planning for Dek's mother after Predator Badlands. I know it says that female Yautjas have only been portrayed in comic books. They were also mentioned in novels and audiobooks. Dan wants Dek's mom's introduction to be a little unexpected, while also wanting to avoid the tropes as much as possible. Her appearance in a Predator Badlands sequel will be more intentional and focused on the cool of what the Yautja culture can bring to the screen. They also might not be using ideas from the comics, but instead, they might make their own version of this female Yautja. The ending of Badlands also seems to imply that his mother also has some kind of conflict with her son, Dek. Even though Dan now has a 3-year deal with Paramount, he's still going to be involved with the Predator franchise at the same time. But right now, he's still coming up with ideas. They could work on Prey 2, the sequel to Badlands, or something after Killer of Killers. So that's it for the news on this topic for today. It looks like in the sequel to Badlands, we should expect a female Yautja to appear, most likely Dek's mother. So that's it. I will see you later.